Does hard work alone grant you success? Simply no. Why do I say this? Because there are so many people who are working super hard out there and get nothing out of it. Many people have these outdated conceptions of how success is achieved, like people are just lazy or they don't work hard enough. While hard work and smart work is definitely a part of achieving your goals, there's a whole other story that people prefer to leave unaddressed and that just as much affects your road to success. And that is the influence of personality, mental, and social factors. It all comes down to how you define good and bad. However, we all share commonalities in our moral stances and how we define what good and bad in the world is. Good people are known as the objectively good person. In most cases, the highly sensitive person, the humanitarian, they attend to others' needs, they care about the environment, they're more collectivist and communal in nature. They self reflect, they introspect so they won't let their unresolved emotional conflicts out on other people. They try to figure out why other people act the way that they do so they can forgive them. They're known for their compassion, loving kindness, and empathy. They're the nice ones. Bad people are the ones who are, well, if they take an extreme, they commit criminal offenses. They're frauds. That is more in terms of a pathological clinical population. But the bad people in subclinical populations or everyday society, let's say, are the bad guys. They're known to be selfish, not empathetic in most cases. They give in to their impulses. They don't self reflect. So they would displace their negative emotions on others. I characterize the bad ones using the dark triad traits. The dark triad traits are the dark side of the human personality that these researchers conceptualized back in 2002. According to this theory, there are three personality traits that are considered offensive, although still are present in normal or subclinical populations. These are psychopathy, narcissism, and Machiavellianism. We all know what narcissism is. It's a feeling of superiority over others, a feeling of entitlement, and an extreme need for admiration. Psychopathy is simply high impulsivity and thrill seeking behavior, along with low empathy and low anxiety. Essentially, psychopaths can cause harm to others and feel no guilt whatsoever because they cause harm to seek pleasure and get a high from it. Where you and I are satiated from attending to our favorite games, favorite TV shows and movies and foods, they cannot be satiated from that and they need extreme measures to feel that dopamine and serotonin in their system. That's why you see criminals like Ted Bundy smile on the electric chair. They do not feel guilt whatsoever. But of course, that's the criminal end of the dark triad traits. Machiavellianism is a manipulative, exploitative personality. They use others, take advantage of others for personal gain, and they want their reputation to be intact no matter what. Sandra L. Brown, in her book Women Who Love Psychopaths, says that many psychopaths never get to prison. Most of them are in large remunerative corporations, perhaps wearing a suit and a tie. They're not as decent as you think. There are a few considerable researchers that say that dark triad traits, specifically Machiavellianism and narcissism, are associated or correlated with career success. These researchers proposed three possible explanations for how dark triad traits can be adaptive. Those who score higher on dark triad traits are more agentic and proactive. They are quick to strategize, they can manipulate their environments, and are insightful in their perceptions. Narcissists are known to be highly self confident, and when you are confident and people can see it quite clearly, they're going to have a good impression of you, and this narcissistic confidence is quite persuasive because it comes off as charismatic and competent. This can be used as an exploitative strategy. Those who score high on dark triad traits are more likely to choose high paying niche jobs and are more likely to take risks which will eventually pay off in their careers. Another study found positive correlations between high flying traits and dark triad traits. High flyers are known to score more on traits such as conscientiousness, adjustment, curiosity, ambiguity tolerance, courage, and competitiveness, which are all significant in professional success. Simply put, based on these results, people who score more on narcissism and Machiavellianism are able to pay attention to detail, be disciplined in achieving their goals, they're able to adjust to difficult environments and emotional stresses, they're curious and open to learning, they experience more positive emotions than negative ones, and they deal well with unfamiliar or new experiences, things, or learning materials. They're able to solve problems effectively and are highly driven in order to victor over their competitors. This is what those researchers think. Now, let me give you my take. Revenge success. While good people let things go, bad people do not let things go. If, for example, Nancy told you that you're not good enough for the promotion or you get criticized in your yearly review, now a good person may let that go or go home and cry about it and accept their defeat, or they would just succeed silently. Now, that's not how a bad ones deal with it. They're going to turn the world around to prove this person that they are victorious, just to make this person feel so inferior and to make them crawl under their bed, wallow in their misery, and to regret what they have said and done. See, I don't have anything wrong, like, I don't see any problem with that. I think this can be a very healthy thing in subclinical narcissism. I think it is healthy too, but it depends on the context of the situation. And also, if this person does have some empathy and does not go overboard to destroy this other person's life, but they will do whatever it takes to get to the top. And most of the time, after they do get to the top, they are going to look back on Nancy and make sure to make her life a living hell. These people believe and are convinced that they can do anything, and if they don't, they will make sure it will. Narcissists, for instance, are only aware of their strengths, even though their strengths may seem exaggerated. They're not conscious of their insecurities. I think you may have heard that narcissists get triggered and offended easily by critiques and when things don't go their way because they have insecurity, they have deep-seated insecurities. They do, but they exist on a deeper level, even though it's tenfold than the normal good person. But they're not conscious of their incompetencies. If you are familiar with the law of attraction or the law of assumption or the work of Neville Goddard, what these concepts basically say is that like attracts like. And if you believe that you're a specific type of a person, you're going to be that specific type of a person. If you believe wholeheartedly that you're something, then you're more likely to become that thing. It's like a self fulfilling prophecy, and there is neuroscientific and neuropsychological research that backs this up. If you believe wholeheartedly that you're meant to be wealthy and successful and famous, well, you're going to be that. In the context of narcissism, they do wholeheartedly believe that they're superior. There's no question about it within their conscious mind that they're the greatest, and so they achieve higher standards. Yes, somebody may point out to them that they cannot do this, that they cannot do that. Surely they will have their outbursts of aggression at others, perhaps rage, but then do you think they will let that go? They will never give up. They're going to somehow get to where they want. While the good person tend to overthink or be very conscious and even self-conscious because of people's opinions, they tend to wallow in misery most of the time. On the contrary, narcissists are very driven. They're driven out of a different motive, like revenge to success, but they're somehow driven. If someone tells them you're not going to be successful, there's no part of them consciously that says that going to where they want to go is not possible. That's just not available to them in their consciousness. It's almost like you're telling them, well, a triangle has four sides.
I disagree.
They try something and assume it fails, and they do rage, but then somehow things should work out for them. In their mind, that's what they're convinced of, because that is their reality. I am the greatest! So they will eventually find ways, opportunities, and shortcuts perhaps of doing whatever is needed to get to where they want. The bad people do not care for others around him. He does not care about how his projections, displacements, and emotional outbursts may affect the environment around him. He has his emotional punching bags anytime he needs it, so he feels more in control. The good person is more introspective. Things happen and they go into hermit mode to figure things out. They journal, they go to therapy, do shadow work, and all of that. They basically try to improve themselves internally. They cry alone. This brings me to internal aggression versus external aggression. The bad ones will displace their problems on others. So all that anger, sadness, rage, disappointment that they experience as a result of whatever happens in their life, they just displace it on someone else. They externalize their negative emotions. The good ones don't. So they internalize everything. Whatever the anger they experience is internalized and they become mad at themselves. And this is where most of the time self harm plays a role. They punish themselves for whatever happened in their life or for what someone else said or did to them. So they become their own punching bag. Grandiose narcissism is known to have a negative correlation with neuroticism, meaning they're more likely to experience less negative emotion. People dominant in the dark triad traits are pretty good at pretending. If they don't like someone, they pretend they like them to get their way. In that way, they're more adaptable. They're good at creating an image that is socially desirable even though it is not honest. They're good at being inauthentic to get their job done. They do not speak up when they see some unfair business happening. Imagine you tell your INFP coworker that she has to pretend to say good morning, pay respect, smile, and like their manager who is also manipulating his employees to gain sexual advances from them. The INFP, you're telling the INFP, the idealist, the humanitarian who believes in a just world, who speaks up for justice. No, she would start to talk, speak up for the abused ones and the mistreated ones, speak on all the unfair stuff that's happening, and everybody else in the corporation who wants to keep their jobs will keep their mouths shut and end up disliking her, and the next day she would end up being fired. And this is how the corporate world works, and it is the same in humanitarian corporations. Dark triad traits are known to be effective at impression management. Impression management is a tactic a person uses in order to control how they're perceived by other people. Basically, tactics they use to have a good impression, which can be used as support for all their motives. These people are known to be charismatic and they make a good impression on people. Impression management allows an individual to adapt to social standards, gain credit, avoid blaming, retain or improve their self concept, self image, and exercise powers. Impression management helps a person build a network and to network. If you create a good name or a good reputation by any means in the professional world, it becomes easier for you to acquire information about everyday occurrences. Does Susan think of resigning? Who's up for the promotion next month? And to do so much more because you got backup. You got people lined up willing to support you. People often believe that the ones who don't have friends, or at least who don't have a lot of friends, tend to be narcissists, too flawed, or bad people. I have to disagree. Those who do not have a lot of friends, as far as I've seen, are people who are more authentic. They're very real in a sense, not mean, but real. They don't wear a mask. They don't smile when they don't want to smile. They don't interact with fake people. They dislike phony interactions. They're very bad at pretending to like someone when they don't. They're okay with eating alone in a restaurant. Those who do have a lot of friends tend to be more confident and persuasive, which is more attractive in the eyes of many people. Most people tend to approach those people because they seem very friendly or charismatic. The problem is, it is only a mask, and that helps them do everything they need to do. This is how narcissists acquire narcissistic supply. Narcissistic supply is a phenomenon where the narcissist attracts a bunch of people that supports them, respects, adores, or admires them, which in turn will support their self esteem and their endeavors, and will eventually help them achieve what they want to achieve through support and perhaps through exploitation of these people. The truth is, people love people who wear masks, so the society is made for them. Because a mask is pristine, it's lovely, and it's friendly. Who wouldn't want to be friends with them? Most people do not like a person who holds up a mirror to someone and show them this is who you really are. No, they love veneers.
Give it the sleek, dazzling veneer.
They love pretension. People often underestimate how much you can achieve through networking. Social connections provide valuable capital in generating objective success. And creating social connections is one of the greatest talents of the dark triad traits, sometimes except for the psychopaths. The capitalist world is created for them. You cannot be successful without being selfish in the objective way at least. But most of the time, what I witness is that most of these objectively successful people are pathologically selfish. The communal humanitarian personalities do not have seats for objective success in the capitalist system. Good people are more attuned to their emotions and their environment. They are more empathetic and emotionally insightful, but they are also authentic. They try to figure out people and fix what's wrong with them by trying to help them. They're more aligned with their ethical values than accomplishing their own personal goals. People dominant in psychopathy, narcissism, and Machiavellianism go with the id, their pleasure instinct, and their impulses. Good people go with the superego or their moral stance. And in both cases, their ego fails to do its job correctly, that is to maintain a balance. One thing we should understand is that there is a bright side to the dark triad traits. And if you want to survive on Earth, this is necessary because there is an adaptive and functional advantage to these traits too. Something common that I have seen among all successful people who are not extremely narcissistic or dark in terms of their personalities, meaning they do have the dark triad traits, but not in a intense and a huge way. But these people are not the nice guys or the nice gals. They're not nice in the conventionally described way. They prioritize their well-being and themselves. They choose to be good to themselves, but also to others in ways that they can. They create and maintain boundaries and they maintain their own individuality. They're authentic most of the time, but sometimes they have to act. Sometimes they have to pretend to like the people when they don't. Sometimes you're going to have to let someone else take the blame. The truth is, you cannot be fully and completely honest and gain objective success, at least in a capitalist society. The truth is, the world is not fair, especially specifically where a human being is involved. We also recognize the unique gifts. This is healthy narcissism, understanding that they're indeed better at certain subjects or in a certain area of life than somebody else. Not superior as a human being, but superior in a particular area, but not using that as a weapon to condescend someone else. They're not looking down at anyone, but just being proud of their own milestones, which boosts their self confidence. They refuse to be the sacrificial lamb. They believe in themselves and are proud of who they are. They're aware of their strengths as well as their weaknesses and strive to work on themselves while still being proud of who they are. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. I appreciate you being here. And make sure to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment down below. Leave a thumbs up so it will help with my algorithm so it will reach the right community, to the right people. Ultimately, that is my goal. Thank you so much for being here. Again, I appreciate it very, very much. And I will see you in my next video.